Hey everyone, it's Karen at Gold Star Pro, and in this video I want to show you how to track your spam rate, your domain reputation, and everything associated with that in Google Postmaster tools. Why do we want to do that? Because inside of Gold Star Pro, while we have an email dashboard which shows you the results that you get when you email your customers, unfortunately Google doesn't report the results of your efforts in the same way that other platforms do. So, for example, when you're sending to customers using a Gmail address, if people mark you as spam, they don't necessarily send that over to us. So, you can't see an effective spam rate. You can't see who marked you as spam. And of course, we want to make sure that we're staying up to date with this. We want to be able to have full insight into what that looks like. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through setting up Postmaster tools so that you can track this directly inside of Google. So let's start by going to Google. We're going to search for Postmaster tools. And at the top, we see Postmaster Tools Google Email. So we'll click on that one. We'll click on Get Started. And we find ourselves here inside of Google Postmaster Tools. Click on Get Started, and we need to enter the domain that we want to track. So in this example, let me enter World Schooling Central. Now, we don't want to add a subdomain, so we don't want to add www, we don't want to add anything before the domain itself. This has to be your root domain. Next, we click on the Next button. And what we're going to see is that Google's going to give us a record that we need to add inside of our domain provider. So you've probably done this in the past, maybe in a slightly different way, but I'm going to walk you through and show you how to do that now. So what we need to do is copy this record. Then we're going to go over to your domain provider. Now we use Cloudflare. We're in the DNS settings. No matter your platform, you're looking for DNS settings. If you don't know how to find that, simply go to Google and do a search for how to add a TXT record inside of and then add your provider. So if it's Cloudflare, if it's GoDaddy, if it's Namecheap, whatever the case may be, do a quick search and you'll get full instructions on how to access the DNS settings. Once you've found it, you need to look for an Add Record option. In this case, I'll click on Add Record. And what we're doing is we're adding a TXT record. So we'll scroll down until we find TXT. And then we want to add the root domain. Now, every provider does this slightly differently. Some will want you to add the @ symbol, which we can see clearly underneath here. Others will want you to leave this blank. Others will want you to add the root domain in this section. Start with the @ symbol, and if that doesn't work, it will notify you as to what you want to do. Then we're going to move to the content. Now, this may be called value. There's a lot of different names, but essentially you have three components: the type, the name, and the content. Inside of the content area, we're going to post that code that we got from Postmaster Tools. Once that's done, we're going to click on Save, and then we can go back over to Google Postmaster Tools. We're going to click on Verify. Now, this might take a little while. This has worked for me automatically, but this can technically take 24 to 48 hours, but typically we see it within a minute or two. So if it doesn't work straight away, give it a couple of minutes and then verify again. Once it's verified, we're going to click on Done. Now, we're not quite finished because what we want to do is we need to add the sender pathway that you use inside of Gold Star Pro. Where do we find that? Simply go over to Gold Star, click on Settings in the main menu, and then click on Email Services. We can see here that we're using mail.worldschoolingcentral.com. If you are using a via gsp.com domain, then you need to reach out to our team and request a custom sender pathway. We'll help you get this set up, and then you'll be able to return and do this process. So, mail.worldschoolingcentral. As we can see, the subdomain is mail. So we want to come back over to Postmaster Tools, and we're going to add a new domain. We're not going to have to verify this because it is a subdomain of the domain that has already been verified. So we simply click on the plus, and then we enter the domain. Click on Next. And because the root domain has already been verified, the subdomain is automatically verified as well. So then we click on Done. Now, keeping in mind that this is the domain that is being tracked inside of Goldstar, we want to click on that. And inside of here, we have a number of different options. So we can look at the spam rate, IP reputation, domain reputation, and a few others. Now, what we do want to look at specifically is 2 or 3 things. First of all, let's have a look at the domain reputation. Now, in the beginning, you may not see any records here. If you're on a brand new domain, there may not be enough information that Google's been able to collect. But we can click on last 7 days up the top and change this to 120 days. And here we can see our domain reputation over the last 120 days. Now, the best possible result is that we have a high domain reputation. As we can see here, on the 15th of January, our domain reputation dipped to medium. Now, this can be a number of different things, and I know for a fact in this example, we actually did a big mail out on this day. And what happens is when somebody marks you as spam, Google's going to look at this information and it tells them that maybe the information that you're sending is not as high quality as your users might like. There's a lot of different things that impact that. However, what we want to do is get it back up to high as quickly as possible. If you see that your domain has dropped and you haven't been able to get it back up to high, then we need to have a look at why that might be happening. Of course, you can post in the Facebook group and ask. The other one that we want to look at is the spam rate. Now, as mentioned earlier, Google reports this very differently. With their new rules, Google wants you to stay below 0.3. Now, we recommend 0.1. You don't want to get to 0.3. What we can see here, though, is that on these couple of occasions, we've actually gone well above that, which is going to be, in this example, the reason why we've seen that domain reputation dip. We want to, in an ideal world, keep this as low as we possibly can. With that said, go ahead now and set up Postmaster tools. This will give you great insight into your email marketing results within Google specifically. Being able to track this inside of Postmaster tools will help you monitor your email marketing results, and it will help you identify any issues that may come up. If you've got any questions about this, head over to the Facebook group and let us know.